The territory, broadly defined as South-West France, contains a rich patrimony of unspoiled, authentic provincial towns and vivid relics of the past. Some of the most graphic date back to Gallo-Roman times. And in particular, a more recently discovered example, which is still being excavated in the northwest corner of Gascony.
We are now in Séviac, the famous Gallo-Roman villa, which was built in the beginning of the millennium, around the 2nd century after Jesus Christ. And this villa illustrates very well the strong links that have existed between the region of Gascony and the Roman culture. It is proved, thanks to the mosaics, that the Roman brought here in the region the knowledge of the wine culture, of the vine culture. Later on, the Viking influence brought here the knowledge of the cask making, and the Arabs brought the knowledge of copper, thus permitting us to build the first alembic in France. So with these 3 different influences, we had everything to produce historically the first brandy in France. Armagnac is produced since the 13th century, and we have in the region almost 8 centuries of tradition and experience. Armagnac is made from pure natural wine. We use 2 different types of varieties, 2 different types of grapes. Uni Blanc is this one. This one is ready for the harvest, so we will do so in the next days. So you can see the grapes is rather big. There is some acidity in the grape, and this is very good for the distillation purposes. And the acidity is brought thanks to the sandy soils that we have here in our domain. The second variety that we use is Bacot. Bacot is very famous for Armagnac. It is grown only in Armagnac. We will harvest the grapes in the autumn season, and then we will press these grapes, these fruits, very gently in order to have this kind of grape juice. You feel the sugar, you feel the fresh aromas, and you can see that it is still a little bit dark. We will leave it as it is, completely natural, with nothing added, no sulfites added at all, and so the fermentation will take place within a few days, and then later on you will have what is becoming a wine. The sugar has been transformed into alcohol, and gradually the wine will clear a little bit. And so this is an example of a 1-week wine, so it's still a very fresh wine. And we can see also that the lees, the heaviest lees, have started to go down. After 3 weeks, the wine will become a little bit clearer, and this will be the time when we will have to distill. And intentionally, at this stage, we will not filter the wine. What we want to do is to keep a wine with the tiniest lees in suspension, because this is precisely what will give the flavors and the aromas in our Armagnac. So this is the alembic of the domain. This equipment permits us to distill wine into Armagnac. So what happens basically is that we will heat the wines, which will become vapors, and these vapors will go into that distilling column, and in each stage they will take more and more of the alcohol and more of the flavors of the wine. At the top of the column, the vapors are collected and they will be condensed into this part. So the liquid which we will have is white and clear, and it is called Armagnac. Immediately after that, we will transfer the Armagnac into the oaken casks.
Et après, bon, il y a ces deux aussi.
Bon, ben, on verra ça plus tard. Allez, on va chez... After the distillation, the aging process is of premium importance for a good quality Armagnac. So it takes place in oaken casks for years, decades, and sometimes even more. So here we have the Armagnac white, fresh from the still. So you can see it's a crystal color, it's pure, it's completely white. In the nose it is a fresh wheat, fresh grape. Then, after a period of approximately 1 year, You can see the color starts to darken a little bit, and you start feeling vanilla flavors. And this is the example after 4 years, and now the flavors really start to develop. The tannins get oxidized and give birth to new flavors, which are candied fruits with some spicy notes and a kind of toffee nose also, which is very pleasant and very, very round indeed. My father Jean-Claude is taking some 10-year-old Armagnac, so it means 10 years in the cask. And you can see that the color is becoming what we call a mahogany color. Flavors have developed, so the longer it stays in the cask and the better it becomes really. And this is the real philosophy of our production. So these are our collection of vintages. The vintages are stored into these demijohns when they have been aging into cask for a period of 40-45 years. It means that they have reached their optimum level of quality. And so this is a unique collection of vintages dating back to the 19th century. As artisan producers of Armagnac, we have an extensive range, going from the young to the oldest, rarest vintages. So I would like to present you one of our most popular exclusive product, the Baron de Sigognac 10-year-old. We export it to all over the world, more or less. So you can see first the natural color. So we have a very smooth nose, vanilla and prunes.
Apples?
Yes,
maybe?
yes, exactly. And you will find the apple taste in the mouth also.
Okay.
We have other products like, for example, the 20-year-old, which is, of course, older. So here you will have a longer finish, also quite complex notes. And these are some collector's items here. You see vintages which are very rare, just a few units for the whole world. So this is a vintage 1900 in the crystal decanter. This is exceptional.
It's over 100 years old, this Armagnac.
This Armagnac is over 100 years old. We have a complete range of vintages. They are actually collector's items, just a few units for each vintage and for the whole world.